Wages was once a important thing to a man. Back in the day, you used to be able to work any job pretty much and make enough money to take care of yourself and your wife. Now, you hear this from right-wing people. People like say right-wing people are like the misogynists and all that. It's like, no, not really. The right-wing people blame immigrants for what you see today. The issue is they're not really the problem. They're more the symptom. Companies still want to pay even less what they should, even though technically our wages are half. And you could say, why is like people even working like minimum wage jobs are working half as, getting half as much as wages? Well, the fact is, the reason why you don't make, like, if you work a minimum wage job or a low end wage job is due to the fact of women. People like to say it's immigrants, but not really. This video is going to be just on YouTube because TikTok would probably not like this. But YouTube would probably be fine with this. I am not risking it because my account may get banned. But wages started to stagnate around the 70s. Now, there's a clear correlation of wages being stagnated and women going to the workforce. And it's basic economics. It's just basic supply and demand. You double the workforce, so companies have to hire less people. I mean, they have to pay less people. That's what happened. You see with right-wing people, they don't care about that. Like, that's one thing that's why I don't like the right wing and I don't like the left wing either. At least the left wing is honest about hating you. The right wing will lead you on. Like, the right wing, it's more likely to give jobs to foreigners than it would a left wing person in a weird kind of way. At least they'll give it to people. Now, of course, they'll give it more to women. To where people, I've been seeing more people been saying what I've been saying for a long time, because people are realizing that it was never the immigrants that was the problem. The immigrants are just a symptom. People say if you brought back the factory jobs, the way, you'd be able to make a living. The problem is, that's not the case. At best, you'd be slightly making more. You'd be making as much as a low-end apprentice blue-collar worker at best. And it wasn't that much when you think about it. It's just the jobs in the Rust Belt had those jobs. And cars, they were made with quality. And when you think about it, the cars were more expensive than there was. But they were made with quality to where people would just buy a car and keep it for many years. That's what happened. You will see people now, people buy 2 or 3 cars in a lifetime because, cars don't last as long. Well, back in the day, you would keep your car for 15, 20 years. Now it's not like that. So in reality, cars were technically in certain cases more expensive. Cars are more expensive now in certain ways because of the technology. It comes to, putting electronics, but you still find a used car that's still dirt cheap. People like to say, well, the used car market's bad. No, it isn't. It's just people buy these cars that are either filled with electronics or they don't look hard enough. Or they buy a truck, which you shouldn't. Like, are you hauling heavy freight? Like, no. Buy something that people don't want to buy. It's very simple. But if we brought back the factory jobs, that would not fit, people from, now I can afford a home. No. The wages will still be shit. And you'd be doing hard labor. It's the same, I talked about this in TikTok where I said blue-collar working jobs are complete shit. And they are. And the reality is, most people should be able, and I mean in general, even if you work like, people say back in the day boomers would be able to work at McDonald's or a fast food joint, they'd be able to buy a home and a car. That should be still the case. You should not always have a career to be able to buy stuff that your parents or grandparents bought, 40, 50 years ago. That's how it was. These people who think we just need the better jobs to come over, it's not the better jobs. We just need our wages to go up. That's it. Our wages should represent what we should be making. If you made double as much as you made, there's no doubt you could buy a home. There's no doubt. You could pay for a mortgage and there you go. It's not that hard to save money too. It's hard. It takes a very long time to save. Most people don't have $10,000 in their bank account. And if you do, that's exceptionally rare. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck. And it's kind of insane because if you had double that, you'd be able to do your first payment on a home. That would also, if the wages doubled and just be one parent working in the household, that would also cut half the people from buying homes too. So that means there'd be more supply of homes. That means the only way people who sell homes would be able to sell them, they would have to cut it by half. So housing prices will go down. Food prices will go down. Everything will go down. You instantly see the wages, and if the wages went up by double, half the workers, and yes, you can work a country with just men working. That's how it was throughout history. And that's what you did. But these people don't understand that. You know, men are just better at saving money and more efficient with money. And that's the reason why I was like, oh, well, what do they expect you to do? They want you and your wife to work the same job. Well, who watches the kids? Well, the way it works is the state. They want the state to be their parent. That's what's going on. They want the state to be the parent. That's the reason why they want to control your kids and what they do. That's the reason why the Online Safety Act happened. Not because of, oh, well, it's because people are lazy. No, it's not people are lazy. It's just that the parents are not watching their kids. That's a fact. That's a guaranteed fact because both parents are working. That's what happened. Both parents are working, so they can't watch their kids. Parents are more stressed. They're not making enough money. And you see relationships going down. If it was just men working, relationships would get better. And you say, well, women don't want to stay home. In reality, they probably would rather do that now. Because you see women in antidepressants, sad, alone. Their standards are going up because now they want people with 6-figure, even 7-figure jobs. They just want insane standards. And I hear like these right-wing people, no, it's the immigrants, it's this, it's that. It's like, no, it's literally just women. And I would actually get backlash from this. I'll go in the comment section of a video and I say, it's women, not the immigrants. And you see all these MAGA simps, Republicans, or, conservatives in general, go after me because I say a simple fact. It's simple supply and demand. Many economics, people who do economics say that this is the case. But even when they, you show the math, you realize the people who don't say in the other part of economics, they're saying, well, we don't want that to happen because of emotional reason, not because of, the math is there, but we don't want to hurt women's feelings. Like, no, this is not good. This is not how society should run. And, when you try to explain that to people, you get so much backlash. You get fucking people to threaten you. I don't understand this. Like, I would think that the right wing would understand, because if you look at countries where there's no immigrants whatsoever, like South Korea and Japan, they are worse off. You see men working 16-hour, 14-hour, 13-hour days, and their wages are even worse. So whenever you hear somebody say it's like, look at South Korea, and the men and women there, they're at each other's throats. They want to kill each other. You see, like, the country of South Korea is run by a death cult. Like, unironically, a feminist death cult, an open feminist death cult, who, what I heard is that they killed a bunch of kids on a boat. Like, they literally did like a ritual sacrifice. And even the president at the time, had to apologize. Well, my handlers were doing something stupid and all that, because she was controlled by the cult. And whenever they had like a mild uprising, the other president got, dethroned, and it went back to status quo. Same thing in Japan. They don't have immigrants. I mean, they're starting to get immigrants now, but before that, they were still doing shit. Their wages were shit. If you look at their wages are not enough to buy a home. So whenever you hear someone say, well, it's the immigrants or this and that, you gotta realize it's simple supply and demand. It's simple supply and demand. When you double the workforce and you make it where both men and women work, you cut the wages by half. This is basic math a child can know. And, people don't care. People don't care. People are like, oh, it's not true. It's not true. It's like, no, this is basic math. Basic math. Even if you do, like, ask an AI, they would say you're correct, but they would say, well, on the other hand, this, that, even though it said, you can even say, like, well, if you go by simple supply and demand, and they'll say you're 100% correct. But they'll still say, because if you bring it up to an AI, they know you're right. The AI knows you're right. And many economic people have said that's true. But they say, what about isms or the emotional aspect? You don't have this, like whenever I say, well, we need factory jobs here. And that's the reason why I don't like Trump, because, I'll bring these the jobs back. Will that help the wages? No. Will they pay you a fair wage, the companies? No. And eventually this won't work until the population has to collapse. Because what happens is, like in South Korea and Japan, they don't have enough babies to keep it under control. If you really want everything to go back to normal, men need to work only, one-parent household, and force the companies to double the wages again and make the wages what they should be. And you say, well, that wouldn't happen. Well, if it's just men, yes, it would happen, because you have a bunch of men. You're basically saying to a bunch of men, well, we're not going to pay you the wage that you need to take care of your family. That would not go well, because people get violent. Like that's the reason why you have unions in like blue-collar working jobs, because back in the day, you didn't have unions, so people got violent until they finally said, let's make a union. That's what happened. So whenever you hear someone say that, to say you double the workers, you cut the supply by half. Simple math that a child can do.